Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Rob Liefeld Day and that is why we are looking at the next issue in his New Mutants run, issue 89, cover dated May 1990. So looking at this cover here, it is once again penciled by Liefeld, inked by McFarlane. I've questioned this before over the past few issues, what the actual chronological order was of, McFarlane inking this run of New Mutants covers. There's a bunch. I think there's like maybe 6 to 8. I'm not quite sure, but there's a few. Just because I find them inconsistent in the chronological order of when the issues are coming out. So some of them, most of the earlier ones just kind of feel a little more Liefeld. And then later on you get more of the McFarlane, as I assume he has more confidence and is inking over, over someone else's pencils. So I'm not quite sure how that worked, but there's inconsistencies in the way that the books came out, I find anyways, or at least of what you would expect the evolution of the inking would be. This cover to me is very much Liefeld, probably 90-95% Liefeld. The only flourishes where I see a bit of McFarlane is this kind of parallel hatching lines that he does down here and around the shoulders. You'll see most of the characters here have that kind of telltale McFarlane inking on the shoulders that I see on a lot of his Spawn stuff and some of his Spider-Man stuff as well. Same here, he's done it here. But other than that, there's really not a lot. There's this belt here that I feel is kind of McFarlane-y, if I can say that. And some of the inking maybe on the cybernetic arm, but not a lot of telltale McFarlane ticks on this page. This is kind of an iconic pose to me. I don't remember much about the rest of the cover, and I just have to say this character here, I don't even know his name, like super lame. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't even know this guy's name. If you want to kind of tell me in the comments, I guess, but if anyone thinks this guy's cool and you can tell me why, hit me up in the comments. So let's have a look inside. Let's open her up. All right, first thing I really enjoy is this establishing shot, this tiny establishing shot, which I think is clever. Honestly, you're doing a monthly comic, got to get that stuff out, and you probably want to work harder on the stuff that's more interesting to draw, like the characters here, So, I mean, very simple and effective, was probably very quick to do, but it works. We understand what's going on. We get the setting near the city, the water, right? The helicopters here, either dawn or dusk. I'm not quite sure because later on it just looks like the middle of the day. So, that's just an artistic choice maybe, but it sets the mood for where we are. And then obviously you easily understand that these two guys, or rather Cable and this group of guys, are in the helicopters. So simple, effective, monthly schedule, get her moving. I've always loved Liefeld's depiction, or early depiction of Cable with the mucho receding hair. Notice that from issue to issue, you guys probably know this and noticed as well, but the cybernetic arm keeps changing, the design keeps changing. I don't mind, it's comics, if that's the only thing, if that was the only thing changing, I wouldn't complain, but Liefeld's been known to do that a little bit here and there. I mean, Jack Kirby did that as well sometimes and forgot kind of costume designs or changed them from page to page. So, I'm not, if the King can do it, I think Rob Liefeld can do it too. Special focus on the Blob, I'm guessing, but I think Rob Liefeld really enjoys the Blob as a character, drawing him, because he's got him in the run here with New Mutants, and he's going to have him in the run later on in X-Force as well. So I feel he brings him back just because he enjoys drawing him. Maybe he takes up a lot of space and cuts down on the background drawing. Maybe that's part of it too. But if that's another trick to make you hit deadlines, then that's great. Love this. I love a 2-page spread, as I've said it before, with insert panels, right? Because it's not just, hey, I'm showing off. It's, still some storytelling bits thrown in there. Let's look at the credits. So Louise Simonson is credited as writer. I do believe at this point, though, Rob Liefeld possibly was already plotting. Anyways, Rob Liefeld penciler, Hilary Barta inker, Joe Rosen letterer, and Brad Van Ketta as the colorist. So Hilary Barta is inking this one. As far as Liefeld goes, I mean, I think it's pretty consistent with his style at the time. There are, I can tell from some of the stuff here, stuff that was left out. I actually, a few months ago, inked this page for fun, just this half here. See if I can put that up later. But yeah, I think she's fairly true to the pencils overall. We're getting more and more of that Rob Liefeld feel. So turn the page here. Helicopters both crash in the water, it seems, or at least one of them does. Splash! Like this panel is hilarious, right? Just lines indicating falling. Why the horizontal lines? I'm not quite sure. I find that's an odd choice. Maybe just the vertical lines would have worked better. I feel like the splash maybe should have been a little bit bigger. But I mean, storytelling wise, it works. Add some clouds in the background, quick bridge. Again, a pretty simple and effective panel, and you can move on to one of these great panels that I've given Rob Liefeld lots of credit for before. The down shot from the ceiling, right? Like the shot from above, looking at the characters, kind of just stand there talking, whatever. He does it a lot. He's very good at it, so he should. Something I struggle with. Again, I think he does really well here. And throughout the run, you'll see more of them. Maybe even in this issue. I think the lighting, the way he does it on the figures here, completely works. And then this effect here kind of ruins it a little bit, you know? Either the background should have been completely black, or maybe just leave it open, no lines for the color. But like, I think the figures here, I do find them very strong, and the lighting on them, very strong. So I just find this kind of detracts from it. But a good panel. Like I said, I really like this here. There's something about it. Kind of a sweet spot in Liefeld's New Mutants period. Just something about this panel I really like. I think he's done really well. So those helicopters have crashed, and we get Cable crawling out here, going to call an ambulance. This kid wants to call the ambulance. Then Cable says, no, I'm going. You guys help these guys come on land. So some sort of distraction. It's this weird story conceit that, just very odd. If you know a little bit about the history of New Mutants and X-Force, Rob Liefeld was plotting, maybe not at this point, but close to it. So maybe this issue, and the writer basically had to piece things together with the dialogue. So sometimes it just makes for kind of weird story points, like in the case of this bit of storytelling here. I mean, Cable getting really angry, right? Obviously, because he wants his guys off his back. And there they are, they pop out. So we got Cannonball here in kind of not a costume, just in his civilian clothing, I guess. That's what he looks like. Kind of an odd choice. Guess he always has to wear the goggles, but they're not wearing goggles. So I guess they don't see anything when they're flying. Just getting bugs in their eyes, maybe. So this is basically a boring kind of B story, C story here, where they're going to buy jewelry. For some reason they have credit cards, I guess, because Sunspot's dad is rich, right? Maybe that's not it, but I don't care enough to really check it out, to be honest. Mostly here for the artwork. So yeah, here's, again, Blob covers up most of the background, right? Am I wrong with this? Right here, lots of background. You don't have to draw if the Blob is involved. But he also, I think I think I said it before, he's got the coolest version of Blob. I like his big kind of elephant rhino feet. Just the way he draws them, the proportions, I think are great. He's got boobs. He's got moobs, right? That down shot again that Liefeld's so good at. Some Art Adams kind of looking faces right here. Almost feels like the inker was aware and kind of helping it to look Art Adams-ish. I mean, another great down shot here. I think that works really well with the characters here in the foreground. I mean, Liefeld had this is the period where Liefeld's drawing every lady as if she's like a Olympic powerlifter. Like the gams are just huge here. I mean, but it works, right? It's comics. There's an exaggeration there that Liefeld has his own little way of doing that I think is cool. I mean, these are some pretty primo issues. There's some things that are off, but overall this is pretty good stuff, I think. Pretty good primo Liefeld. So Cable's been caught here. He's being beat up and stuff. There's a bit of confusion here, but I love again the look of the Blob so he's smashed him with the back of his head into his teeth here. Clearly it's visible that teeth are exploding, but I don't know, the colorist didn't make this. I guess you'd give it a pink or a purple, maybe even a red, right? For like gums or something. It just looks weird and statted or something. Someone tried to fix it. Maybe Liefeld done something else before and they just covered it up. So it just looks like teeth are breaking off, but they're not because his teeth are still there. So yeah, just an odd choice there. Because the next thing you see here, right? This is a great shot. He's missing some teeth. He's got some blood. It's black, of course, for PG reasons. And then you've got a few of his teeth kind of sitting there on his chin. I think that's like, this right here is like the coolest drawing in this whole issue. Tiny little shot here. Cable's leg, super outstretched like that, super long, just odd proportions. It's a pretty long leg. So these guys all show up on the scene, right? Again, another great shot of the Blob. I'm really going to focus on him because, like, I feel like Liefeld's throwing in that extra detail and effort when depicting the character, especially the face, right? And what's just happened to him. Even this little kind of quick drawn here, I think, is really effective and cool. Another one here, right? Probably drawn pretty quickly, right? This shot here with the arms out, you know, completely out of frame. That's another kind of Liefeld staple. But again, I just love the shadows he's added here to that same kind of beat up blob face. I think looks really good. And he's still doing a lot of storytelling. You know, I was talking about in yesterday's episode, about Jim Shooter's kind of rules and protocols for storytelling. You're seeing a lot of that here, right? Liefeld still, I mean, he's started working in that dynamic style for sure. That's kind of separating him from the host of kind of 80s artists who are still around and stuff. There's the Marvel, you know, house style guys. But the storytelling is still very much, you know, that Jim Shooter established stuff. Lots of medium shots, right? Lots of storytelling still going on. Something Liefeld would be known to kind of, you know, skimp on a little later. Like this whole page is just kind of a B or C story kind of storytelling page, right? Not a lot of action, not a lot of dynamic stuff going on. Still makes it fairly interesting though. You know, he used the old tricks. He tilts the horizon here, you know. Using the vertical, right? Probably inspired by McFarlane. He would, you know, still use it to this day. Something that kind of stayed in his répertoire in French. Something about this panel I think is very cool. You know, it's the obvious I'm pointing or this person or whatever, but like something well done here. And just the more discreet kind of inking here, right? It's almost like, funny enough, more of a Mark Silvestri-ish looking figure here, I would say. I think the foreshortening is simple but well done. You know, once we get mixed in the action and stuff, he's still doing those mid shots, right? Still, you know, tilting the horizon here as well, but you don't get the big splash page effect that you'll get later on, and maybe, you know, his last few issues of X-Force and Youngblood once he gets started there. But yeah, I just feel like he's always paying special attention to the Blob here. And let's be real, like with a hand this size, how does the Blob do anything? Like there's no way he could pick his nose. The size of his hand compared to his nose, that's just ridiculous. I mean, the Hulk has that too, right? But anytime you see him like this, you know, foreshortened looking down on him shot, once again, really well done, I think, here. And what, you know, that beat up face here with the missing teeth, I think is great. I will say it again, I think Blob is the star of this particular issue. So we got some more storytelling, moving the plot along. And the old kind of vertical panels here, movie style. Something Jim Lee did a lot of in X-Men. You know, something that was going to maybe transition between, you know, the storytelling of old and the storytelling of new. Just that widespread, kind of more cinematic aspect to some of the panels. And that slowly gets exaggerated into, you know, full-on splash pages or 2-panel, 3-panel pages pretty much throughout the whole comic. But there will be kind of a sweet spot there where the mix of it, maybe a little bit later than these issues, but the mix of splash pages and storytelling pages, just find that equilibrium that I think is part of what's cool of that late Marvel run by those Image guys, right? The ones that I'm looking at basically day in and day out on this channel. So, New Mutants number 89. Tell us what you think. If you have any comments, any, you know, answers to some of the questions I may have asked, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so. It obviously helps us out and pushes us to put out more videos. Hope everyone out there has an awesome day.
Like! Subscribe! Like! Subscribe!
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.